Hello again, and I'm just going to run you through the first two modules here and the little introductory module as well. So this course has been designed with modules kind of as the home page, the main navigation. So this can be clicked through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 pages here in the first module, and they should be clicked through in order. If you need to access something that is not built into the modules, for example, the course literacy links or this teacher's guide, you can hit pages on the side, which isn't visible to students because it doesn't quite sync up, but you can hit view all pages there, and then you will find down here the teacher's guide, the syllabus, welcome to Canvas with Spirit e-learning videos, etc. But to click through the course, we start at modules. The very first page of the course is the standard welcome page. You can personalize this with your name, your email address, your office hours, and then what should be done this week. Okay, so we have a live class Monday, Wednesday, say, and then Tuesday, Thursday. Make sure you go into these two. Whatever, that's up to you, teacher. Here you will find the syllabus. That, again, I have left for you. There's a link here. If you see anything that's highlighted in an obnoxious color, that is for you to change and alter before the course goes live. So here's just an example of how it will look when you export your PDF. But as you can see here, there's some work for you to do on the syllabus. I've included the Google Doc here so that you can edit that text, but do keep in mind the Google Doc has kind of messed up the tables, so you'll have to do a bit of formatting there. But there's my example, and you can leave most of that and just pop in, your information, and you'll want to type in a bit more about your personalized weekly routine. Now, if we just click next here, this is page 1, we'll go right into kind of our welcome module. So this is just going to be setting the daily processes. The welcome to ELA 9A, there's a course video here. It runs through those daily practices, the reading, writing, and the exploring with mentor texts and creating. So that runs that through with the students and kind of sets the tone as far as being respectful. You may want to record your own introduction to the course. You go right ahead. Feel free to use all my videos or none of them if you would like. And just explaining like daily processes, read, write, explore, and create. Here's why. This is where, we're going to hit this point home that you're going to write every day and read every day like 5 times before we even get into the main part of the main part of the course here when we begin. So here's a little quick Flipgrid is something I've used quite a bit embedded throughout the course. You are going to have to delete my embeds and put your own in, but that is very easy. Literally all you do, there's a little embed button. You would just delete, for example, this is my embedded Flipgrid discussion here. You would just delete that, create your own. You just access the website Flipgrid through your Prayer Spirit login, and then you can start creating your own little conversations and embedding them right in here if you'd like. Feel free to email me if you need some help there. But again, obnoxious color, you have to change this. This is just a placeholder to show you what it should look like. But right here, very first, try it out, try Flipgrid, record a response. It should, it's not going to let me because I am presenting at the moment, but you should be able to record it right here. So that is welcome to the course, daily practices. Let's get more into daily reading. So we're going to dive into these daily practices so the kids are familiar with it. Again, a video, feel free to use it or not. 2 YouTube videos to scaffold and supplement that learning, benefits of reading. 2 separate videos, track your thoughts and note down any questions that arise. We will discuss this in a live class session. So as a teacher, you just might want to click through the 3 or 4 pages that the students are assigned this week and say, okay, yeah, we can discuss this, or change it. Take that out if you don't want to discuss it in a live class session. Instead, pop a link to an online discussion forum, monitored obviously so the kids can't talk to the public, but perhaps you're gonna change this around. But if it does say we will discuss this in a live class session and then you just never address it, the kids might wonder, or they might start to see some of the course as optional. Tossed in a little extra video here at the bottom, reading material. Where can I find reading material at home? I know you might have questions with that too, so do watch that video. Email me if you have any questions, but that is the daily reading. Next, we're going to talk about daily writing. So a little video explaining to the students why they should write every day and how they're going to do that. 2 videos, informational videos. Please track down any thoughts and we'll discuss this in a live class session. These 2 videos just discuss really why we should write. Then examples of what a writer's notebook could look like. You'll see a wide variety, like, very neat, colorful, well-designed, all the way over here to this is what mine looks like, which is, a bit splotchy and a bit of a mess, but organized chaos. We could have lists, we could have images, we can have collages, we can have, this is really just to show the students that I don't see any of these that are just plain text. Okay, so this is just to show them that their writer's notebook will be personalized and it can look like anything. And again, just trying to okay, here's what we're doing now, here's what we're doing next, here's what you should do if you have any questions. Finally, this is the introductory little module here. This will kind of be like week 1. Some goal setting. This is actually for marks. This is where you will see the curricular outcome. So as you're designing your grade book, you can see every curricular outcome built right in here. 9.1a, 8 marks times 1. So there's the weighting and how many marks it's worth. Also, anytime I have done anything for marks on here, the rubric is built directly into Canvas. So if the students are submitting through Canvas, you can mark them directly through Canvas and that should sync. We're not using PowerSchool, I don't think, next year, so whatever we do, it should sync. Just some, and again, below are the steps to follow and some guiding prompts. Write a sentence or 2 for each. So you might see this and go, this is grade 9. They're writing a 4-step reflection in grade 9 before we even begin the course. But really, reflect on your experience as a reader and write 1 sentence for that. As a reader, I am reluctant because. Okay? Reflect on your experience as a writer. I don't like to write because it scares me. That's all they have to do for each of those. So as a teacher, it's your job, not your job. This is an opportunity for you to go through and explain to the students, okay, when you're completing this reflection today or tomorrow, very basic, right? And then there are some extra prompts underneath here for extension. You will probably have students who write 4 paragraphs, right? And that's good. I want to give those students the option to write those 4 paragraphs if they want to. So there are extra prompts underneath. Ask yourself, what do I enjoy reading? When was the last time I enjoyed a story? What types of stories do I enjoy? So that scaffolding is built in there. Next, you will complete a response to the above 4 steps. They're submitting through a text box, a media recording, or a file upload. Choice, choice, choice in how they submit that piece. Now, we begin Unit 1. So if we're back on the modules, we will see that we just clicked through these welcome pages. They set some goals. So they've set some purposeful goals that we will come back to. Now we're into Unit 1, exploring writing to express and reflect. So this is a writing purpose, our first writing purpose in grade 9, and it's split into 2 units. So we do express and reflect writing all the way through Units 1 and 2. Unit 1 is a lot of background knowledge, it's a lot of setting daily processes, and it's a lot of learning and practicing. And then Unit 2 is the deepening. Straight off the bat, they're doing a close reading on their own to submit for marks, to look for stuff that we've already practiced. So I'll just click through these 2 units quickly here to show you my thinking, and then you can work through the rest of the course. It's all very similar to the first 2 units here. So each unit, each module will be numbered, and we'll start with an outline like this. So this is the outline for Unit 1, exploring writing to express and reflect. The big ideas are here. Those are built in through discussions, through prompts for the writing projects, and through the through the quick write prompts as well. So this one is about identity, what makes each person unique, and how do people express their individuality. So you'll see that throughout the next couple units here. So straight away you can see these are all linked through. The kids can click through all the way to the last page or back, and then each page has a link back to this outline at the top. So in this unit here, we start right away with purposefully talking about our daily reading process. So the kids have just started daily reading. We just spoke about it in the last little mini module. And before you begin, you need to actually tell your teacher what choice of novel you have selected. So it's not just like, yeah, we believe you're doing this every day. No, actually you have to talk about it with me. So what novel have you chosen? Who's the author and why did you choose it? Note down 1 sentence you've enjoyed and think about why, and determine when you want to finish this novel. All right, and this is through an embedded Flipgrid response. And my sound is off.
Hello, I am Mr. Natman, and this is talking about my there.
So I've tried to throw in a few examples there, but again, you will have to replace this with your own, so you can watch my example, create the Flipgrid discussion, and embed it here. No marks for this one. This is formative. So this is practice getting the kids using Flipgrid. It's just to inform you what novel they're using and what novel they have chosen and their goals. Now, talking about daily writing. So second one. Instantly, we're talking about our daily reading. Now they're being given their writing prompts for the first 2 units, because these are all the express and reflect writing prompts. So they will use this all the way up to until they start the Outsiders, which is unit 3. There's a new set of prompts for that. So here today, they're choosing one prompt, set a 6-minute timer, and when the timer goes off, review, revise, and submit through a video recording where they read that writing aloud. This is, again, formative. They're going to do this for marks later on, but this is just to get them practicing. It's just to get that daily process, okay, we're going to set a timer, we're going to complete the free write, we're going to read it out loud in a Flipgrid post. So you'll see here the prompts, they can download it, they can save this. There are written prompts. If you could relive one day of your life, which would you choose and why? If you knew that you could not fail, what would you try to do? All the way down to some photo prompts. All right, if you get a set of minions for a week. And then there's some videos embedded at the bottom here, some music videos, and some poetry. So again, here they will record their free write, they'll share it. Other students can't comment on these ones. You can set that as a teacher. That was all formative. That was just to get the daily processes set. Now, here, page 1.2, we are building the background knowledge. So each unit will start off with, let's define these words, okay? So there's a quote about reflective writing. There's a video in which I define writing to express and reflect. There is a PDF of guided notes here that the students can download. As a teacher, you can decide if you want to try and copy this into an editable software, Google Doc or something, you go right ahead. I just threw this in there. It's a PDF, so the kids would have to print it or have maybe you can provide them with a link to somewhere that they can edit a PDF. But they are going to watch the video below on reflective writing and take some guided notes, fill in the blanks, symbols, short answer and reflection, some slides to review with some thinking prompts, and then finally, before moving on, please access the Jamboard link below and then define writing to express and reflect. So make sure you don't miss any of these little links that are in there. And again, this has 2 pages. So you might have to model this for the students in the live classes. You might have to click through this page with them and say, okay, you have to read this box when you look at this slide. You have to click the Jamboard link below, even though this is all formative so far. You need to participate in these to deepen your knowledge. So this is building the background knowledge for express and reflect before we dive into a mentor text. We'll have a class discussion quickly. This one is not for marks, but a class discussion. I've thrown in the 3 big ideas from that very first outline page, and the students click reply, and they can attach a file, they can write a submission, and they can respond to each other, and they should. So there are instructions on each of these pages that the students should follow and that you can go through and make sure they have followed. So class discussion with the big ideas, just to get their thinking going. We do a close reading together next, so we are going to look at this mentor text and try to define writing to express and reflect. I define read like a writer here, and then there's a PDF of the story, which the students can access. What are we looking for? I always put the purpose. We're setting our purpose for reading. We are highlighting examples of express in green and reflect in pink, and then we're going to look for good writing. And then in the video, I go through and annotate on that document, on that story for the students, and they can watch that and they can work along beside me. Now they're going to do this on their own as an individual assignment. Okay, so they're going to do this annotating at the start of the deepening module 2. So this is just practice. We're going to do this together. I run through and I highlight and write all over that and annotate it for them. And then another little lesson, descriptive writing with the 5 senses. There is a video going through this mentor text to look for any 5 senses. Then there's some snippets from masterclass here, how to use the 5 senses in your writing. Please read and try to understand these guidelines. So how to write with sight, how to write with taste, touch, smell, sound. Then at the bottom there's a task. Again, just making sure the students don't miss any of these tasks, the formative tasks that deepen their learning. You need to grab your choice reading novel and look for any examples of the 5 senses and make some notes in your writer's notebook. So you can ask students to share those during a live class. Next time you work on ELA, try to model this type of writing in your quick write. And then remember, you should be completing a choice reading session and a quick write each time you work on ELA. Revisit Module 1 for a refresher on what those daily processes are, and revisit this page to find your suggested prompts for Unit 1. So that will pop up a few times. Hey, remember, you've got a reading conference coming up soon. After that, after we learn about the 5 senses, there's the first journal. So this one is a purposeful assignment. They have to complete it, submit it. This is separate from their quick write tasks. So read the mentor text. My first day back to school is just as I expect it. This is a snippet from The Sky is Everywhere. So this mentor text literally is just the first little bit of writing in a novel, and it's just 1 page. That's all we're using to inspire us today. So my first day back to school is just as I expect. The hall does a Red Sea part when I come in. Conversations hush. Eyes swim with nervous sympathy. And everyone stares as if I'm holding Bailey's dead body in my arms, which I guess I am. So the students will read that, then the journal prompt, my first day of school. In your writer's notebook, start with the idea, my first day of school, and write a response to the mentor text. Use a couple of the 5 senses to write descriptively. So we're using what we learned in the previous page, and they are starting to create for marks. Here's another example for inspiration from another book here. On your first day of school, on your first day at a new school in a new town, you got to decide what kind of kid you were going to be. So we're just showing our students how to be inspired by other ideas. And here is a teacher example. It is blank. I'll try to pop one in, but a little screenshot of a quick piece of writing by you, it would probably be great to throw in there for replace some of my examples. Again, you can see the curricular outcome here. It's compose and create 9.1a. If you want to shift that up, if you want to make this an indigenous mentor text, and then change the compose and create to suit that, you go right ahead. To change the outcome, you go ahead. But the outcomes are matched with the rubrics. The students will submit a text box entry or a file upload. They might want to read their journal out loud, or they might want to take a picture of it to submit it, and then there is the rubric to mark. Reading and Writing Conference. So this is their first conference that's actually built into the course. You can shift these around, you can double them, you can take them out, whatever you like, but I think they are essential. It assigns a mark to the daily practices. So you will schedule a meeting with each student on Microsoft Teams. You will have one meeting in which you discuss daily reading for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then daily writing for maybe 10-15 minutes. Okay, so first you are going to ask the student about their choice reading novel. Just have a conversation with them. Ask them about the themes, characters, things they like or dislike about the story. Use as much detail as possible the student should try to do. So really, I always look at 2 things. Are you understanding the text? Are you comprehending what you're reading? And are you actually trying? Are you doing it? So I try to get those out of the students through those conferences. Your teacher will then ask the students about the daily writing practice, and the student can share 1 piece of daily writing to share with you, okay? Then you can give them some feedback and some guidance. There's a video here on a writing conference that I've done with a student, so just an example. Now, this is the description page because it is actually 2 separate outcomes from the curriculum that we're assessing. So we're assessing comprehend and respond, and compose and create. Those are 2 separate outcomes, so I've made 2 separate rubrics and 2 separate assignment pages for the 2 conferences. So this page here is an outline. When they click next, this will be the marking page for the comprehend and respond, the reading conference. So this says reading conference assessment. This is the great rubric and grading for the reading portion of your conference. Here's a little outline. Here are some prompts in case anyone gets stuck. And here is the rubric for your reading conference. The next page is the exact same thing, but for the writing portion. Compose and create, there are 2 outcomes attached to this. And you can take a look at those 2 outcomes and see why I've attached both. This is the writing portion, again, a little outline, and then a quick reflection. This reflection isn't marked. It's actually, the rubric here is for the writing conference, but I have embedded a Google form here just as a, we're extending that learning, right? Reflective questions. Did you participate well? I'm just trying to get the students to think, okay, what did you say is a strength of yours as a reader? What about a writer? Like, let's just focus, right? Like, let's try to build that identity as a reader and writer. So give your teacher a little bit more information. You will have to change this embed. So you'll have to pull this, delete this one out, and create your own. Again, on the writing conference, in case last ditch, what? I'm supposed to be writing every day? here are your prompts. They're built right into that page, so we can't say, I missed that. They will still. Now we pop, that's it for exploring writing to express and reflect. We're done our first reading and writing conference. Now, there is no new writing prompt document for Unit 2. You might need to explain that to the students because they just carry on. We're in the same writing purpose, so they're going to carry on with the same prompts. Same big ideas. All right, this is almost like our second lap around the track with the same stuff. Straight off the bat, they're doing a comprehend and respond, double-weighted, close reading on their own. So I just run them through quickly a little explanation of what they're going to be looking for. Then, in student mode, when they hit start assignment, it will actually open up the dentist's office with, with annotation feature that they can annotate directly in Canvas, okay? So they are going to annotate in here, and then they're going to submit that. Submit assignment when they are finished, okay? So that is them, now it's your turn. We've done it together. You've had the chance to discuss. You've had the chance to ask questions. We've looked at mentor text. Now it's your turn. You are going to look for examples of the 5 senses in green that are good and 5 senses that have room for improvement in pink. And big picture, right? Writing to express and reflect. We're just focusing on a few specific elements of expressive and reflective writing. That one is for marks. They will submit that. Right after that, we have another little lesson, okay? So we've done the 5 senses. Now we're jumping into literary devices. So there's a little Edpuzzle video with some questions built right in. Again, you may want to go in and create your own Edpuzzle video if you want to be receiving your students' responses. It's probably a good idea. Figures of speech and literary devices worksheet here, not worksheet, but an information sheet here. And then let's actually find a literary device in this excerpt from Firekeeper's Daughter. So read the entire excerpt through once. Don't look for anything yet. Just get the hang of the story and then read it a second time and use your supports above to find one example of a literary device and make note of it. Okay, you might discuss this in the live class, but really here, share and discuss. So students have to share the literary device they found, the type, and discuss a connection it reminds me of, or I'm thinking about, I'm wondering, and comment back on another student's. So that is a great way to get them chatting back and forth about what they're learning. Journal number 2, again, When I Was Young in the Mountains. So there's a reading of a children's story there, and an example that Linda Reef has turned it into When I Was Young at the Ocean, and a student example of When I Was Young at the Ocean. So here students are asked to watch this and then start with the line, When I was young at hockey, in the winter, at the lake, in the garden, at the ceremony, with my brother in elementary school. But they have to use a couple of literary devices as well. So just, again, laps around the track and practicing. This one is submitted for marks. Writing task number 1, this is what we've been building up to. Okay, so there's a big outline here. I've done it step by step. I've walked the kids through step by step. There are links, there are supports. Again, you may have to take individual students through this page with a screen share and walk them through, break it into even more manageable steps. But planning outline, our purpose slide, instructional video, student example, writing process is outlined for them in a Google Doc, and then they submit it. So the planning outline is here. Again, it's a PDF. You may want to convert it into something editable. C9B for how I've done that for that course. Step 2 is our purpose. Again, a slide here, just a few success criteria that the students can really focus in on. Okay, check these 3 boxes and I will do well. Instructional video, I walk them through, what we've learned, what they should include, and there's a Jamboard link here with some idea sharing so the kids can start to pop in. I'm going to write about getting lost at West Edmonton Mall. I'm going to make some of it up so that it's a better story, but I'll use some elements of the truth. There's a student example here, and it's long and it's very good, but I've said to the students, you don't have to read the entire thing. Read some of it, take some notes, and be critical. The writing process, walking them through here, pre-write, outline, and plan, they've already done. They should start writing a draft, revise and focus and edit and proofread. We are going to do some peer editing next. So the writing process, if the kids read through all of this, okay, now you're ready to access the Google document for this assignment on our Google Classroom page. You as a teacher, you're going to have to build that Google Classroom page and create a Google document for this assignment beforehand. So you will have to be clicking through the next few pages ahead of the kids and making sure that you're creating all the stuff that they need. So just read through each of these steps on your own. Polish your draft and move on to the next page, peer revision. So that is the outline for the writing, the writing task, the culminating writing to express and reflect. Peer revision, there's purposeful peer revision here with an assess and reflect assessment. So there's a 3-step process for peer revision. You have to prepare your own piece, the student. They have to have a Microsoft Teams meeting with their peer. They have to submit their piece of writing when they're done, and then they have to complete the text box submission reflecting on themselves as a provider of feedback. So there are so many layers here, but this 3-step process, compliments to the author, suggestions, and mark corrections. That's it. There's a Microsoft Teams meeting. You have to set that up as a teacher, and then there's some shared notes. So compliments, suggestions, and corrections. That will guide their meeting and then track for you what they've actually spoken about. Then they have to submit in a text box. How was the experience of providing peer revision? Was it helpful? Was it tough to put yourself in a vulnerable position? Again, they have to respond to one of the following prompts. So you might think that is a lot, but again, if the students are paying attention, it's quite, next time, how might you be a better provider of feedback? You can answer that in 1 or 2 sentences, right? So they're being marked here on their reflection of giving peer assessment. Then there is the page to submit their favorite mistake writing. This is the compose and create rubric. So again, you'll see the compose and create. This is worth 3 marks because it's such a big project. You're probably going to spend a week or 2 on this. Big rubric there, 20 points that align with the assignment. And finally, we have finished writing to express and reflect. Let's reflect on the learning. This is for marks as well. Okay, so we're going back to those goals that they set at the very beginning and were marked on, and now you are asking them to reflect on those goals. I hope that wasn't too jumbled, but that is the first 2. That is Unit 1 and Unit 2. Exploring and deepening writing to express and reflect. Then straight after that, we launch into the Outsiders novel study. So we build the background knowledge. We go chapters 1 and 2 for the novel study. The text is right in here. I have chapters 1 and 2 put into a PDF. And then there are learning tasks that the students have to complete. These are comprehension tasks, deeper than regular comprehension, I hope. Feel free to change those if you have better comprehension questions. And then journal prompts. So they have to respond to some prompts to show you in a writer's conference in the next module. So the Outsiders novel study has some fun assignments in there. Character profile, they have to make a social media profile or some type of character sketch. Then an Outsiders 1-pager is the final project there. It's kind of a artistic summary of the themes in the themes and images in the story. Then Unit 4 and 5 are exploring and deepening writing to inform and explain. So we have building background knowledge, we do some close readings, we're reading informational texts, we're writing informational texts, we're explaining ourselves, we're listening to a climate change podcast, we're exploring encyclopedias. There's Indigenous content woven right in through here, through the encyclopedia explorations and the heritage minutes. Journal, and then right at the end of the course there is a portfolio conference outline that will be for you to innovate and decide what that's going to look like, but having a conversation with your students about what they've learned and having them show you what they've learned is the final assessment for this course. Enjoy, have so much fun.